Hello buddy and welcome to episode 24 of Brunswald. In today's episode we're going to work on this coal power plant here, and this will be providing Brunswald with electricity. So I've been wanting to do a, power source for Brunswald for quite some time, and we finally get around to it in this episode. So I decided to make a coal power plant. First I thought I would make like a nuclear power plant using the Dowell power plants by Ronix. But those cooling towers on that assets were just so large and super like massive. So I don't know, I didn't really think they would fit nice, because I would have had to put them like a long way outside of the city, and I kind of wanted the power plant to be fairly close and in this sort of harbor area that we have here. So I decided to go for this coal power plant, which is by Avanya, and it's still a super nice asset. I think it's pretty old, but it still holds up very well. I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I used this one, and yeah, I put down some train tracks leading in here, so we'll have ship access, and we will have train access, and then obviously truck access for loading off coal and stuff that will go into the power plants. So we have sort of three transportations that will connect this power plant. So I think that is good. And now I'm just putting down the power lines here, which will lead to a substation that I will be making off camera. Because yeah, it was just like overall very uninteresting to make that substation. And yeah, so I didn't really want to include that in the time lapse, but you'll see some cinematics of it for sure. But I'm putting down these train cars here. And these ones are by, the name is CV, I think. It's the same guy who created all of the train cars that I use for the rail yard in the harbor. And he had some coal train cars, like these ones here. I think they're called tonneaus or something like that. And decided to download those and put them down here. And now I'm making this building for dropping off the coal from the train cars. And I think these buildings work that they have some like open space underneath the tracks, and these train cars, they are able to open up underneath, so they can just unload all of the coal like that. And then underneath the tracks they have some sort of like conveyor belt, which transports the coal into the coal power plant. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I created a building like this where all of that would take place, and I think it turned out nice. I think it turned out definitely realistic to have something like that. And those other two tracks would be maybe just parking area or something for some train cars or whatever. So I think that turned out nice with that building. And the inspiration that I took to maybe make this a little bit more realistic was from Kalundborg in Denmark, which is a city that has a coal power plant. So I took some inspiration from there, and then I also took some inspiration from the power plant in Altbach in Germany, outside of Stuttgart. And that is where I looked at the building they have there for what I believe is unloading coal from train cars. So they have some sort of building like this, where I saw the train cars went into, and that's where I got the idea to do a building like this. And also you will see me putting down a lot of trees and stuff around this coal power plant, and that is also inspired by the Altbach power plants, because I saw there that they had a ton of like trees around the whole coal power plant there, and it just overall seemed very green. Like they had a lot of green space around the power plant, which I thought was interesting. So I decided to take some inspiration for that. So that's why you will see me placing down quite a lot of trees, like right around the power plant here, and honestly really like the look of that in the end, and I think it really made the old power plant look a lot better. Then I'm just making the entrance here for this power plant, and I used this like gantry network to put some of these like green arrows, sort of showing, I don't know, that cars or vehicles are able to enter. I don't know what those would be, but I just wanted to put something there. This is actually enough space for like trucks to go in and out from. So I thought it would be super tight for trucks, but they actually managed to go through there really good. These power plants in the game are sort of annoying because I don't have any like coal mine, or I guess ore mine it is, like close to this one here. So it takes forever for the trucks to come and deliver coal to the power plant here in game. So it like, when I put it down, it had like coal stored for like 40 weeks or something, and then all of that ran out, so I didn't get any electricity from this one, so I had to go back to like my temporary way of doing it, with just having like a solar power plant. But yeah, like no trucks came for a really long time, and then they finally showed up, but the city had been without electricity for a super long time. So what I decided to do was to put down a solar power plant underneath this whole coal power plant, so we always have like permanent electricity, even if the coal would run out from this one here, or if the trucks wouldn't make it in time. So yeah, I have a solar power plant underneath this here, which always will produce electricity. So that makes me, or that will allow me to get rid of my temporary electricity source, which has been a solar power plant back in the distance from Brunswald, which looks really bad if you point the camera towards that direction. But we can finally get rid of that, so that's very nice. Right, so now I'm just putting down some roads and some concrete here in the middle, but I also tried to leave some space in between these buildings to put just, I guess, green like bushes and trees, as I'm doing here, because I mean everything here wouldn't have to be just concrete. Like if it's not necessary to have concrete there, it wouldn't be there. So yeah, and then I just put down a lot of dirt decals like these ones. I think they really do look nice, and yeah, just gives it an overall good look. But I'm just trying my best here to make this as realistic as I can. I don't have any like knowledge and stuff of how these coal power plants operate in real life. I did some research, of course, and I looked at Google Maps and stuff and tried to figure it out that way. But I don't know the ins and outs of a coal power plant and where everything would be, so you'll have to excuse me if not every single detail is 100% realistic. And I know probably some of you have much more knowledge than I have for this stuff, but what I'm going for, which is usually what I do, is just to get an overall good look, and an overall look that just looks realistic, I guess you could say, for me. Because if I feel like it looks pretty realistic, I'm pretty happy with that. Like, I don't need to have every single detail be 100% realistic. So that's sort of how I do stuff. That's kind of how I did the what is it called? All of those like oil, or the oil refinery in Brunswald, or not Brunswald, in New Toulouse that I did. That was sort of the same thing I did there. I just tried to make it look good and feel realistic, and then obviously not everything will be 100% realistic, but I think that's fine. So that's sort of how I'm doing here as well. Alright, so I'm putting down some more of these breakwater assets, which are by Strictoaster, and I really like these. Like, they're just so good, and I use them pretty much everywhere around the coastlines and stuff. And in this episode, we'll also be making a like massive breakwater for the whole harbor, because the harbor is like right out towards the ocean, so there will be a lot of waves and stuff coming in. So this harbor would need a breakwater. And I've been planning to do that for a long time. Even when I created the whole harbor, I wanted to do that, but I never got around to it. But I decided to do it now. So in the cinematics, the harbor will just feel a lot more realistic because we have a massive breakwater. So I think that will be nice. But right here you can see that I have keys pretty much around the whole coal power plant here. And that is not really realistic because there wouldn't really be keys if it's not needed, and it's only needed around those like coal bulks where they store all the coal, and where it's or where the ships would park, I guess. So in other areas there wouldn't be keys, so you'll see me later on, or I don't know if I include it in the time-lapse, but you'll see at least in the cinematics that I got rid of a lot of the keys around here and just put those breakwater rocks and stuff there instead. So yeah, we only have keys where the ships would dock. So I think that's way more realistic. Then we have this whole like substation here where all of the electricity would go to and then transfer into the power lines, which then would continue on to some other substation that I will be doing off camera, because that was just like a really boring thing to do. But yeah, I'll be creating like a substation that you will see in the cinematics later on, but no time-lapse footage of that, because yeah, just overall pretty boring. Then I put down this small little office here, so I guess this would maybe be for controlling this substation here or something, I don't know. I wanted to put some sort of building here, and this building is like fairly new as well. I downloaded it not too long ago, and yeah, I kind of just wanted to use that building, honestly. Then I put a lot of the ruin texture underneath here, and I used a lot of the ruin texture in this build. Underneath like the power lines and stuff, I think it looked really good to have some ruin texture there, and also using those dirt decals. So I think that's a nice combination, because like underneath power plants, or not power plants, underneath power lines, like it seems like the ground and stuff might not be like, I don't know what it really does, like I guess maybe shade or something. So yeah, it seems like the ground is a little bit different underneath power lines, it seems like in real life. Or yeah, I don't know, I think it looks nice. Alright, so I'm doing some more like sidewalks and stuff here, just connecting up some like doors and stuff to those buildings. And I also put down that Bauhaus building, which have been on the workshop for a long time, but I don't think I've ever used it. But I got some inspiration from the nuclear power plant that Keralis did a long time ago. I saw that he put down that Bauhaus building, sort of acting like some sort of office building for the power plant, and I thought that was a really good idea. So I decided to use that Bauhaus building as well, but yeah, I put that down like way long ago, like in the beginning of the time-lapse. So yeah, but now you can see here, I'm starting the breakwater, and I've got rid of all of the keys there, which wouldn't make sense to have keys. So now we just have a bunch of those rocks. Alright, so there's not too much time left of the time-lapse, and this episode will be a little bit shorter than usual. But I think this was a really nice build. I got super happy how this all turned out, and I hope you like it as well. And let me know if there is some things that maybe I could change, which are not too like crazy detailed small little things. But if there is something major I should change, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm gonna sign off now and let you listen to some music for the final minutes, and then as usual you'll see the before and after and some cinematics. So yeah, but by the time this video goes up, pretty much at 5 PM on the Friday when this video comes up, I will probably have landed in Berlin for ParadoxCon. So yeah, super excited about that. I talked about that in the last episode as well. But yeah, so hopefully some of you are coming, and definitely come and say hi. But yeah, so this is gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. I will probably be posting some stuff from ParadoxCon there, and also normal screenshots and stuff like that. So yeah, but hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day, and bye bye.